I want you to think about a number. One you probably haven't really given a second thought to since middle school math class.
Oh, let me guess. Pi.
Exactly. Pi. 3.14159. And, on and on into infinity.
All right, the classic ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter.
Yeah, we all learned the basics. We know it never ends. And we just assume, like the greatest mathematical minds have for centuries, that its digits are just this endless, patternless ocean of random noise.
Completely random.
Yeah.
Just infinite noise.
Right. But what if it wasn't just noise? I mean, what if buried impossibly deep inside that endless string of decimals, there was a deliberate signature?
Which is a premise that just completely shatters how we understand the very foundation of reality.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if there's a signature written into the fundamental math of the universe, it means that math wasn't something we just discovered out in the wild.
It was something that was built.
Exactly. Built by someone or
Right.
something.
Okay, let's unpack this, because that mind-bending concept is the foundation of our deep dive today. We're looking at a massive stack of sources from a collaborative multimedia project created by a musician and writer named JJ.
And I have to say, the level of detail in what we have here is incredible.
It really is. It's not just a story. It's this comprehensive development Bible and a project charter. We've got a novel outline, a short story, a track list for a full concept album, and even these incredibly specific visual prompts.
All for a project simply called Pi.
Yes, just Pi. So our mission today is to explore this meticulously crafted fictional universe, follow the protagonist as she makes this reality-shattering discovery, and, well, unpack the profound philosophical questions this forces you and us to ask about our own existence.
And what I really love about the architecture of this fictional universe is that it completely abandons that sort of mystical vagueness you often see in sci-fi.
Oh, for sure. It's very grounded.
Very grounded. It relies on the rigid laws of physics, computation, and mathematics to explore what the psychological fallout would actually look like if humanity found definitive proof that we were living in a simulation.
Right, so the core premise here revolves around this multidimensional collective consciousness known as the architects.
But we should clarify what that means, right? Because they aren't gods, not in any traditional worshipable sense anyway.
No, exactly. They're much closer to, like, cosmic game designers.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. They exist entirely outside of our time and space, just running countless parallel simulations.
And our universe is just one of those simulations, just humming away on some substrate we don't even have the vocabulary to comprehend.
But here's the best part. They left a watermark in the deepest code of reality.
Not because they demand to be worshipped either.
No, not at all. Simply because a maker kind of can't help but leave a trace of themselves in their work.
It's basically the ultimate cosmic Easter egg.
It really is. But to genuinely grasp the weight of this narrative, we have to look at the mechanics of how this watermark is actually discovered from the inside of the simulation.
Because it doesn't happen with, a booming voice from the sky or a burning bush.
Exactly. It happens so quietly. It's set in the late 21st century, and it happens through routine academic infrastructure work.
Yeah, so we are following a computational mathematician who is running this new, unbelievably powerful compression algorithm across the digits of pi.
And for anyone listening who might not know the nuts and bolts of compression algorithms, they essentially work by finding non-random patterns in data to shrink the file size.
Right. So if you run it on pi, which is supposed to be infinitely random, the algorithm should theoretically just fail to compress it.
That's the exact mechanism that sets off the alarm bell here. She isn't looking for a message from a creator.
She's just doing her job.
Yeah, just doing her job. But deep in the sequence, the algorithm actually catches something. The randomness just stops.
Unbelievable.
And it stops at a very specific, uncanny mathematical coordinate right around the 10 to the 40th digit.
Which is definitely not a random number.
Not at all. In physics, 10 to the 40th power roughly corresponds to the estimated count of Planck scale volumes in the observable universe.
And Planck lengths are the absolute smallest measurable units of space.
Yeah.
Right? Before physics just kind of breaks down.
Exactly. So what the story is telling us is that at the exact mathematical coordinate that represents the physical pixelated limit of our universe, the infinite noise suddenly becomes ordered.
Wow.
Yeah. For exactly 3,072 digits, the sequence turns into a geometric encoding.
And when she maps that encoding visually, it draws a perfect circle overlaid with a spiral all nested inside a square.
Which are the most fundamental relationships of Euclidean geometry? drawn directly inside the number that defines circles in the first place.
That is wild. It's like zooming in on a high-resolution digital photograph of this massive forest and finding the original programmer's initials perfectly hidden in the pixel arrangement of a single tiny leaf.
That's a perfect analogy.
But looking at the sources, it actually goes even deeper than that. It's almost like finding out the concept of a leaf itself is trademarked.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes me wonder, though, why hide a message in a math equation? I mean, if you're a multidimensional architect who built the universe, why not put a giant glowing monolith in space? Or, I don't know, write a fiery message in the stars.
What's fascinating here is the philosophical genius of that specific choice, which is outlined wonderfully in JJ's notes.
Oh, how so?
Well, a message hidden in something contingent, like a rock or star or a monolith, could technically be dismissed as a coincidence.
Right, because stars explode, rocks erode.
Exactly. A monolith could just be built by an advanced alien race, you know, not necessarily the creator of the universe itself. But a message hidden in pi, that's necessary.
Because any universe that has spatial dimensions must have geometry.
Yes, and any geometry must have pi. So the signature isn't just a physical artifact floating in our specific universe. It's a structural fact about reality as such. It is mathematically inescapable.
You literally cannot build a universe with circles without including the watermark.
That's right.
That is just staggering. So, I mean, when you drop a discovery that heavy on a human mind, something has to break. And that brings us to the person who actually finds this inescapable signature.
Yes, Lena Vaskova.
Right, Lena. She's a 38-year-old Czech-American computational mathematician.
And to really understand the plot, you have to dig into Lena's character profile. She is highly logical, relentlessly precise, and deeply solitary. Her only real companion is her cat, named Euler.
Which, by the way, is the perfect name for a mathematician's cat.
Truly the best. But her reliance on logic isn't just an academic preference for her. It's actually a profound trauma response.
Right. The project charter explains she had a very chaotic childhood, marked by a bitter divorce between her parents and just being uprooted across the world.
Yeah, so when human environments proved volatile and unpredictable for her, mathematics did not. Numbers never left her.
She built her entire life and her emotional safety around provable certainties.
Precise.
So think about what it actually takes to be that kind of person. She's the one who spots this anomaly at 2 in the morning. And here is where the story brilliantly subverts all those standard sci-fi tropes.
It really does.
Because normally, a scientist finds the alien signal and they are ecstatic. They're calling the president. They're measuring their neck for the Nobel Prize medal. But Lena doesn't do that.
Not at all.
She spends a month and a half, 6 grueling weeks, trying to destroy her own discovery. She runs the algorithm 17 different times. She tries to prove it's a software artifact, or a compression error, or even just a stress-induced hallucination.
Which is such a human reaction, really.
I have to admit, as a reader, I initially pushed back on this when looking at the sources. Wait, isn't a scientist supposed to be thrilled by a paradigm-shifting discovery?
Yeah.
Why spend 6 weeks trying to kill the greatest discovery in human history?
Well, it goes back to the psychological foundation we just talked about. For Lena, proof isn't just a math problem. If pi was constructed by architects, then mathematics isn't something humans discovered out in the wild.
It's an invention.
Yes, it is an invention. It's a medium, like clay. And if math is just clay molded by cosmic game designers, the ground beneath human reason completely shifts. Her entire coping mechanism for the chaos of life is destroyed.
So she spends 6 weeks desperately trying to prove the universe is still cold and random.
Because for her, that randomness is actually her safe space. It means the rules are real.
But she fails to disprove it. Every single exit she checks is locked. The math is real.
It's completely airtight.
And when words and logic fail to capture that level of existential dread, how do you even express what she's feeling? JJ answers that by forcing us to literally listen to her mind break.
The audio component here is amazing.
There is an entire post-classical orchestral ambient album designed to accompany this narrative. And the audio translates this internal crisis so vividly. Track 3 is called 6 Weeks, and track 4 is I Accept.
The transition between those two tracks is definitely the emotional fulcrum of the entire story.
Absolutely.
In track 3, you hear this frantic, methodical attempt at disproof. Layers of sound keep building up, just escalating in tension as she runs test after test, desperately trying to find the flaw in the code.
And then track 4 strips all of that away entirely.
Completely strips it away. It's 2 a.m., the last test is complete, and she just sits there alone in the dark. The music drops to a sparse, unaccompanied piano. It is the exact sonic representation of quiet, devastating acceptance.
And there's this chilling detail in track 4. A second, slightly inhuman processed voice enters beneath the main vocal.
Yes, the architects.
Right. They are watching her accept this. But they aren't intervening. They're just observing her with this ancient, faintly amused attention.
It creates a massive dramatic irony. We, the audience, know she's in a simulation. We can physically hear the architects watching her on the track, but she is experiencing this crisis with all the authentic grief and terror of a real, isolated human being.
The pressure of holding a secret that big is just unsustainable. I mean, she can't keep it in that dark room forever. And this is where the narrative shifts from Lena's private, quiet terror to the public's absolute chaos.
The inevitable leak.
Right. She cautiously submits her paper for peer review, wrapping the finding in 27 pages of incredibly dense, hedged academic language. But, of course, a compressed summary leaks online without any of the rigorous context.
The internet just gets the raw, unnuanced claim. A computational mathematician found a hidden geometric pattern in pi that might prove a creator.
And the world instantly weaponizes it. It's like dropping a philosophical grenade into the internet. Everyone just grabs a flying piece of shrapnel to defend their own pre-existing worldview.
No, the reactions are wild.
You have an online community called the Patternists, these amateur math sleuths and mystics who go absolutely wild spinning conspiracy theories.
Religious groups immediately claim it as scientific proof of their specific god.
Hardline skeptics call Lena a complete fraud. Politicians start using the panic to push their own agendas. It made me wonder, does the actual math even matter to the public at this point, or is it just a blank canvas for human projection?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the source material is making a very pointed critique of our information age here.
Right.
The project charter explicitly warns that the world doesn't receive a discovery, it consumes one. The actual truth of the math is completely irrelevant to the public because we live in a society that doesn't actually want truth. It wants validation.
Wow. Yeah.
People dunned the raw data to fit the exact shape of their own longings and fears, and the architects just watch this frantic human scrambling with deep interest.
But amidst all that noise, there is one person in the public sphere who actually handles the data with integrity. And her storyline is fascinating. Maren Solberg.
Yes, Maren is a crucial counterpoint to the internet mob. She is a Norwegian philosopher of mathematics.
And her entire life's work, her legacy, is based on the argument that math is human invention, right?
Exactly, that there's nothing divine or structural behind the curtain. We just made up the rules to describe the world. So Lena's discovery of an architect's watermark should be her worst nightmare because it proves the math is structural to the simulation.
Right, it proves math is an invention, but not a human one. Maren's entire career is instantly obsolete.
Yet, Maren is one of the only people who engages honestly with Lena's data.
She doesn't scream fraud.
No, she sits down, follows the reasoning to its logical conclusion, and accepts it, even though it completely destroys her own career. It's this beautiful, tragic display of intellectual honesty at the ultimate cost to her own ego.
Which is such a rare thing to see explored in sci-fi. So how do you take these massive internal philosophical crises like Lena's dread, Maren's intellectual sacrifice, and make them physical?
Well, the project relies on very specific visual and auditory textures to do this. The aesthetic prompts for the multimedia project describe a tone that is cinematic but entirely interior.
Right, the music is post-classical, but with these subtle electronic pulses running underneath the organic instruments.
Exactly.
I love that detail so much. It creates this sense of cognitive dissonance. It's like feeling a synthetic digital heartbeat hiding beneath a human one.
Yeah.
It literally mimics the hum of a simulation running beneath reality.
And the visual prompts in the sources reinforce that exact feeling. Take the album cover concept. It's an aged, weathered canvas. In the center, there's a cracked, oxidized copper pi symbol. Infinite digits are spiraling out into a starry void, and right at the edge, there is that tiny glowing geometric figure.
And down in the corner, barely visible, is a single human fingerprint.
Yes, which forces the ancient, the infinite, and the human all into one frame.
The YouTube string thumbnail prompt is even more unsettling, I think. It asks for an extreme close-up of a woman's eye reflecting a curved monitor.
Right, and the screen shows cascading green-white digits.
But if you look incredibly closely at her iris, which is impossibly detailed, the nested geometric figure is right there inside her eye.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like you are being surveyed. It really evokes that paranoid feeling of being watched while watching.
And the book cover concept pushes that surrealism even further. A woman standing in an infinite library where the shelves don't hold books, but endless numerical sequences.
She's just holding a single sheet of glowing paper.
The aesthetic actively avoids cheap sci-fi tropes. No laser beams, no alien ships. It uses precision to force you into Lena's shoes. How do you sonically represent a mind-breaking? You make it intimate.
It's also isolating.
Yeah.
But the music actually offers a way out of that isolation. Right?
Yeah.
Track 8 on the album introduces a completely new texture to represent a character named Ren.
Yes, Ren is a 17-year-old living in Osaka. And the brilliance of Ren's inclusion is that they actually found the exact same watermark in pi.
But they didn't use computational algorithms.
No, they found it using music theory and harmonic frequencies.
Two completely different disciplines hitting the exact same invisible wall.
And track 8 reflects that collision perfectly. You hear two distinct piano lines, one representing Lena's math, one representing Ren's music. Throughout the track, these two melodies slowly find harmony with each other.
It is the sound of two people arriving at the same impossible place through different doors.
Exactly. The art here is arguing that in the face of absolute, crushing existential dread, human connection is the only real antidote.
It's the end of being alone in the universe. But finding a friend who also knows we're in a simulation brings us to the absolute philosophical climax of the story. The sources call it the Tuesday problem.
Ah, the Tuesday problem.
Yeah. If we're genuinely living in a simulation, what does it mean for our daily lives?
This forces a confrontation between fate and free will, because according to lore, the architects tuned the initial conditions of the universe with such unbelievable precision that the ending of the simulation is fixed.
It is entirely unreachable by any other path. The destination is completely set in stone.
Yet the characters still have genuine free will. The choices are unscripted moment to moment.
Right. We see this play out in an incredible scene between Lena and her closest friend, a mathematician named 𝗧𝗔𝗓𝗓. They're sitting on her floor drinking terrible wine, and ᗧ𝗓 asks the ultimate grounding question, which is captured in track 9.
He says, okay, if the simulation is real, what does it actually change about Tuesday? Does it change how you drink your coffee?
It forces Lena to look at her actual physical life. We learned she recently reunited with Dominic, her physicist ex-boyfriend.
And years ago, she sacrificed their relationship because he wanted emotional presence and she only wanted mathematical certainty.
But now her certainty is gone. She has to confront the messy personal life she left behind. And I have to admit, I really pushed back on this premise when reading the sources.
What do you mean?
I kept thinking, wait, if it's all predetermined by cosmic game designers, why bother doing anything? Why go to work? Why apologize to your ex? Why fall in love? If the destination is fixed, isn't my free will just an illusion?
So what does this all mean? If my choices don't change the ending, do they even matter? The source material provides one of the most elegant analogies I've ever encountered to answer that exact frustration.
Okay, let's hear it.
Think of a river. Every single water molecule inside that river moves freely. It collides randomly, it bounces, it makes its own choices, quote unquote, at the microscopic level within the constraints of its environment.
Right.
And yet the river always, inevitably, reaches the sea. Free will is the water. Fate is the valley. The valley was carved long before the river started flowing, but the water still gets to choose how it flows around the rocks.
Free will is the mechanism by which fate executes itself. When I read that line in the text, it gave me literal chills.
It's the thematic core of the entire project. Meaning was never located in the code. It wasn't in the substrate or the geometric watermark or the ultimate destination of the simulation. Meaning is located entirely in the friction of the experience.
Which leads directly to Lena's final revelation in the coda. She goes back to the math one last time.
But she stops looking at the encoding.
Exactly. She looks past the circle, the spiral, and the square, and she focuses on the infinite random noise that follows the 3,072 digits.
It's like she's looking at the blank page after the creator signature.
And standing at that margin, just looking at the endless noise, she realizes she is free. She was the exact right instrument needed to find the watermark, but she still gets to choose who she is afterward.
And the architects, watching her reach this deeply human conclusion, experience something akin to delight. That they keep running the simulations because the system doesn't just process data, it generates beauty.
So to bring this all home for you listening today, this deep dive isn't just an exploration of a cool, high-concept sci-fi story. It is a profound reminder.
Absolutely.
Even if the universe turns out to be a cold, calculated simulation built by multi-dimensional game designers, The human experience of finding connections, holding unanswerable questions, and, yes, deciding how to drink a cup of coffee on a Tuesday, that is where the true value lies. The architects don't watch us for the math. They watch us because our human capacity to surprise ourselves, to find meaning in the noise, is genuinely beautiful.
And there is one final mind-bending concept from the architect's perspective in the source material that completely reframes how we view that human experience.
Oh, this part is amazing.
Because the architects exist entirely outside of our temporal reality, they experience all time simultaneously, meaning they don't experience time passing as a sequence of events.
Right, for us, time is a corridor. We move forward, and the past is permanently sealed behind us.
But to the architects, time isn't a flowing river, it is a finished book. They see every page from the beginning to the end all at once. Therefore, when someone dies in the simulation, they aren't truly gone. From the architect's perspective, that person is permanently preserved in the narrative. They are complete. The past is not lost. It simply exists on a page that we, as temporal beings, can no longer read.
That's incredible.
I invite you to sit with that today and consider how viewing time as a finished book might just reframe your own perspective on life and on loss.